Hey guys, this is Mr. Darty, and I am here today to take you through some of the basics of Microsoft Forms. Starting off, you always want to sign in through BCPS1 because that is the easiest way to access your Microsoft Office 365. And to do that, you need to go to Instructional Tools from the Educator's homepage, and then to Microsoft Online. And this should bring you to your Microsoft Office 365 homepage where it shows you all the different Microsoft Office 365 tools. And like I said, today we are going to focus on Microsoft Forms, which is over here on the right side. So starting off very basic, as you can see, this is my home page for my Microsoft Forms. I have a quiz that I created so that way we could go through today and to show you some of the features for our quizzes. And also this one is called Tech Tuesday Tools, and this is one of the forms that I've created as well, just as a sample to show you some of the features for the forms portion of the Microsoft Forms database. Right here you have your new form and new quiz. This is where you would go to create one of those two things. So if I created a new form, up the top here you have the place where you would put your title to label the type of form that you would like to create. If you can add a question, you have several different options on types of questions that you can add, and this is really the same when creating a quiz as well. You can have a multiple choice question. It can be a text answer question. This is sort of your short answer. You can have a question that has your students or responders rate, date, and then also you have another option here with ranking the questions. Okay. Moving on, you can always preview your quiz or your forms before you send it out to your students. Whenever going back to the home page, you can always click the Forms button at the top, and as you can see, that took me back to my home page. I'm going to go into my form right now so that way you guys can see some of the features that Microsoft Forms offers. So if I open this up, I talked about previewing. So as you can see, I've created my form here with some questions. A couple of them are different styles. These were the questions that check for your answer. And then you move down, these are our short answer questions as well. If I wanted to preview this and kind of fill out my own form just to make sure that everything looks good, I'm going to click up top here at the preview button. And this is going to allow me to take this before I send it out to my students, which I would always recommend doing. Okay, you can take this with a computer or with your mobile cell phone. So this is obviously what it would look like from your cell phone. And we will talk about how to share this out to computers and cell phones here in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back to my home page here. And so now I'm going to take you into how to share these things like I was talking about. So if I go into my geography quiz, this sample quiz that I've created, and say I want to share these quiz out with my students, I will go up here to the right hand corner and I will click share. And you have several different options here to send this out. First things first, you can always change this option here. So if you click on anyone with a link and respond, that means that when you send out this link right here, anybody that gets that link will be able to respond to your quiz or take your quiz. If you wanted to limit that, you could click on the only people my organization can respond, and that's going to make it a lot more specific. It's not going to make just who anybody has this link can answer. So you can upload this link to your class website. You can send it out in an email. You can send it out through Microsoft OneDrive. You could put it on a document and put it in your shared drive folder. So it's just very, very easy just to have that shareable link. If you want to get fancy with it, there's a couple different options as well. Another way to share out your quiz or your form is by using a QR code. And right here you can see that you can easily download this image, print it out and stick it on a wall, so that way maybe it's a station and one of your stations in your classroom has their students bring out their cell phone, scan a QR code, and it would take it right to your quiz or your form that you've attached it to. The third option to share out is embedded. So right here, this is going to give you the proper text to embed into a website. So if you're using something like Wix or Weebly, class website where you need to provide code to put it in, it very easily already has that for you. You would just copy and paste it, and that quiz would be right on your web page. And then lastly, last option is just by email, simply by doing email. So here's a pop-up window came up. I would allow access, and then that would be able. I would be able to then email to my students. Last but not least, down here, you can share as a template and also share to collaborate. Sharing as a template simply means that you can share your quiz or your form with somebody else, and it just is a duplicate. So they're not actually taking the quiz. Okay, you would just get a link. So that way you could send it to a colleague if you were teaching the same subject and you would like to share your quiz with them. You could send it that way, so that way their quiz would align with their class. Same thing, say you and a colleague are teaching the same subject or the same class and you would like to collaborate and kind of build a quiz together online. You can do that here, so that way say I wanted to share with my coworker, Mr. Warm, and we were working on a quiz. I could send him this link, and he could just add questions in live time that way. So that way we could both edit it that way. Moving on. The last thing that I'm going to take you through is the responses. So once your students take your quiz or fill out your form, you're going to be able to see the responses to this. And I'm going to go out of this and I'm going to bring up my form because I have more responses for that one. As you can see right here, I only have one response for my quiz, and that was just a sample. So I'm going to go back to my main page, clicking on Forms, upper left-hand corner. And I'm going to go into my form Tech Tuesday tools. And as you can see at the top, I have 3 responses for this form. So I'm going to kind of break this down with you. At the top, it just gives you some general data about your form or about your quiz, how long it took to complete it, how many responses, and the status of it. So is it active or is it closed? Because you could also change that as well. And if you click on that bottom right hand it gives you a couple options. You can delete your responses if you wanted to restart your quiz or you're using it for another class. You can print your summary, or you can even create a summary link, and that will give you a link that kind of provides you the data for your quiz or your form. So if you click on Review Answers, that's going to take you to a screen where it gives you a little more in-depth about your answers for your form or for your quiz. And I'll take you into the quiz portion to show you as well. If you see it over here on the right side, it says 0 out of 0 points. That's just because it's a form and I didn't assign any point value for that as well. But if it was a quiz, say it's worth 2 points if they got it right, obviously it would be 2 out of 2 points. If they got it wrong, 0 out of 2 points. And I'll show you that in a second. So going back here, it does a really good job of breaking down your data, kind of puts you in this colorful bar graph. As you can see, this question was just having them check off the tech tools that they are most interested in learning about. So, obviously with more people who are answering, I could see which tech tools here people were more interested in learning about just by taking a look at the graph here and looking at the data on the side. So it's nice and organized. Moving on down, these were our short answer responses, and it'll give you some of the latest responses on the right side. But if you wanted to go into full detail, like say there was 20 responses, obviously it'll only list a few here. So I'd have to go into more details to see about the answers for this question. So it would give the person's name. It only says anonymous now because I did it as a preview, so it was just myself taking it just so that I could show data for you guys. But obviously it would have the student's name when they were signed into their Microsoft Office 365 account, and then their responses to the question. Same thing for the third option as well. Alright, so just very quickly so you can see what it looks like in a quiz form. If I go back to Forms, open up my quiz, go to the responses, you can see here, what people answered, and then right here, and then what the correct question was. So if you want to open up with more details, you can see there's my name taking the quiz. Here was my response, and it was an incorrect answer. Yes, I know that the Baltimore is not the capital of Maryland, but I just did it just so that way you guys see what a wrong answer looks like. I promise you. So yes, as you can see here, it's just the answers, and then you can see how much they are worth, and you can assign that value of points when you are creating your questions. All right. So again, always have your forms option in the upper left-hand corner. That's always going to bring you to your main screen. And where it says other forms, here is where if you were to share a form with somebody, when we were talking about that option over here, when we were sharing, I'm sorry, let me go back. When you're in a form and you can share with somebody, you could share as a template or share to collaborate. If you were to do that with one of your colleagues, then it would show up in your main screen under other forms. So that's where you could open up your quiz or your form with your colleague. You could use that template to assign your own classes, or if it's collaborative, you could work on that with your colleague together. All right, so that is just the general basis of Microsoft Forms. It is very similar to the Google Docs or the Google Forms portion of Google, but obviously with BCPS 1 and BCPS policy, we're required to use Microsoft. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I will be happy to walk you through some of the more detailed things of Microsoft Forms or answer any of your questions. My email is edoughgerty@bcps.org. All right, and again, my name is Evan Daugherty. I teach phys ed here at Catonsville High School. Please let me know if I can help you out in any way. Have a great day, guys.